Rangers,
Rangers,
all the way,
all the way.
Here we go,
Here we go,
here we go,
here we go.
C-130 rolling down the strip.
C-130 rolling down the strip.
Airborne Daddy gonna take a little trip.
Airborne Daddy gonna take a little trip.
Mission unspoken destination.
Yeah, one of the questions I get a lot of times from guys is they want to know, how do you become a sniper in Ranger Battalion? So in my case, it was just a dude, said, hey man, you seem squared away. And walked me over there. Little did he know. But, for me, it was just going over there, meeting those guys, and then I went in and did an interview, did like a miniature board basically, and said, okay, good to go, come on over. For you guys, is that pretty much how it went down? How did you go from being in the line, being an infantry guy, to being a sniper?
Mine was the same situation. When it was VA and RJ were in charge of the platoon, it was kind of on the good old boy system still.
Yeah,
it was still that system. And, Carter and Case were sniper partners in Missoula, my first deployment in Missoula. And that was when I really saw it and kind of saw a couple missions where they schlacked some dudes, and I was like, dude, this is what I want to do. This is badass. And I was one of the squad. I was like, I think this is what I want to do. And I started talking to them, I'd go over and hang out in their hooch and they'd tell me about it and stuff like that. So Case, I got a pretty good relationship with him, and he was like, hey, we're going to have like some kind of interview stuff and things. And really all it was is they sat us down and they, asked us a bunch of random questions. They kind of asked us some personal questions and made sure we had our lives kind of squared away and had our shit together. And pretty much the same thing happened with you. And
VA wanted to make sure I didn't have like dead hookers in my closet and stuff like that.
They just want to make sure that you're not some crazy nut job, and they're like just simple things like, do you have a car? So if you need to get somewhere, you do transportation or stuff like that. Even do finances are squared away. They don't want somebody to come into the platoon that's going to be like, then all of a sudden it's like going to cause a bunch of problems in the platoon. And so really that's all it was with that. And we had I'm trying to think of, in that group when I came in, it was like me. Did we come in at the same time, Jack?
No, I came in maybe like 9 months before you.
Okay, so it was like, it was like me, Grantham.
You, Grantham, Rogers.
And Sanders. Yeah, the four of us came in together. And everything worked out pretty well.
Ours was way different. We had to do they had a big tryout, like selection type deal.
Yeah, they changed it when I was still in, when the next group after Jack. So.
Yeah. Have to do that little RPAT run and, like little semi-selection, PT test and all that stuff. Psyche valve, or 2 psyche valves we had to do. And then we had to shoot to check out our groups and stuff like that, make sure we can shoot like, but the M4 was at under 3 minutes at 100 yards or 50 yards or something like that. But that was pretty much it. From there, went straight to sniper school, and then all the other schools, and deployment, came back to International Sniper Cup and other competition. That was pretty much the...
You guys remember any particularly memorable half missions that we did overseas?
Oh yeah.
I think it was one of my first half missions we did. We were in Afghanistan and we roped in, and they were supposed to put us on top of this hill, but instead they put us on the side. So we roped in and we hit freaking ground that was like this. So we hit and we just rolled. And everyone was like all jacked up. The Turk like broke his ankle or something, and he was screaming from the beginning of the mission to the end. And it was a big deal that he didn't get airlifted out or something like that. But we just hit and fucking rolled like a sack of shit. And that was Afghanistan, I think. And so after we do that, we walk into the objective, and we got to carry the ropes because they dropped the ropes. So, freaking being a private, I got the freaking Mark 48 and the rope. Freaking
like 100 pounds.
Yeah. I got the gun and the rope, and Eaton was the team leader at the time. And we walked up. My trigger guard broke off the 48 on my 48, and so I was paranoid about AD and you know, because they have a jury guard, and so I was all paranoid about that. And I was like a new private and shit. And VA put me in the front of the assault because I had the gun, and I was like so paranoid. He's like, you gotta lead us up the hill. And I looked at him and I was like, oh, what? I was like, okay, whatever, you know, fucking Roger. And we're walking up this hill, and there's a trail, and I was like, hell yeah, it was a nice little trail. This looks so good. And he's like, no, you can't walk up that trail. No, we'll go that way. So we went up, and it was like you walk 5 feet up, you fall 4 feet down. Like it was just hell. Like it was shell and everything. So you're just slipping down it. And we got up there, and I think we got the guy we were looking for. I don't remember, but I just remember the physical part of that mission, and then
It's just hellacious.
starting like hitting the side of the mountain instead of the top of it and rolling down. And I think that was the time when we had fast rope gloves, which were also like shooting gloves. You know, you remember those?
Yeah, they're only supposed to be good for like 10 ropes.
The
Right.
green ones, right?
No, they were tan.
They were tan.
And they had leather.
I
Yeah.
still have those. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember fast roving with those.
But
and,
remember
it
before
hurts,
that,
man.
it was the big white leather
Yeah.
gloves.
Yeah, the hamburger helpers, dude.
I was all paranoid because it was my first combat rope, so I put my fast roping gloves on, and then I wore the white ones over it, and I couldn't grab the rope. Like it was my hands were. I was like this. So right before I grabbed it, I couldn't grab it, so I threw them off, and I had the fast rope gloves, and I went down with those, and I was like, I was paranoid, but it was that was my first rope on a mission, but I just thought it was funny because the second we hit the ground, man, everyone was just sprawled out. You got the Terps screaming bloody murder. You got me, other new privates, like, what the hell just happened? You know, guns are freaking. You're wrapped up in your sling. You carry belt ammo, so I got 400 rounds just thrown around me and shit. Like, it's a bad way to start a mission.
I think I remember when we did in Iraq outside Mosul. I'm not even sure exactly what it was. One of those small villages way out there.
Yeah.
And we went in. We landed with MH60s, and then we had to walk like 15 clicks into the village, and we just spent all night crisscrossing this like labyrinth of a village.
Yeah.
You know, you were probably on that one, Carmody.
Well, was this when Joseph got shot?
No. This was Iraq, where it was the one where Eaton was on my team.
Yeah.
And Eaton
Okay.
decided to ignore the concept of a wedge-shaped formation and just walked all the way to the top of the front of the platoon.
Yeah.
So I had to go run up there and find him. But yeah, I just remember just going back and forth. Well, it was like one follow-on after the next, jumping walls all night.
I was on that with you guys.
You were on that one?
I remember that.
It was surreal walking in a foreign country, like under nods
At night.
and
Yeah.
and like it was so cool. Like you're freaking 18 years old and you're walking with a machine gun.
Doing shit that's on CNN.
And
Yeah.
seriously, we would come back from our missions and we'd
Watch
look on
the
Yahoo
news.
and it was
Yeah.
like special ops just caught fucking blah
Yeah.
blah blah, kill capture, and I was like,
We just did that.
do we really have OPSEC or
Yeah.
like I mean that shit's already on
They
Yahoo.
would never give out the name
But-
though.
No, he just
Yeah.
said JSOC
Yeah,
or
SOF
something.
or
So we did
But
we did a pretty big hit in Iraq, and we did quite a few big hits out there. But getting back to the Chow Hall and the big TV that's in the Chow Hall over there, we're watching the mission we just did on CNN. I'm like, what the fuck, you know? And all the legs in there are looking at us like,
yeah,
"Is that you guys?"
we stand out like freaking a sore thumb.
Yeah,
Like,
and there's
Half
guys like
guys
you that are
were
walking
wearing
OPSEC
Ranger panties and
violations that
brown
have like the
shirts,
tab and the
like,
scroll tattooed on the forearm.
they got the
Some guys have beards and
the third bat Nalgene bottle, but they only taped half of it so you can
Yeah.
see it from the other side.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it was all published actually in like 2006. I think it was actually the Army Times that had like an unbelievable like breakdown. I was shocked. Like Task Force North has this
Oh, yeah.
units in it. Task Force
Yeah.
Central has this units.
the color breakdown too.
yeah, they went down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy that wrote that Shadow Warriors book or whatever. He
With all the
broke
color
down,
breakdowns?
Like, all
Yeah.
the color breakdowns. I remember because if you find, have you looked in that book?
No.
It's all photos
Mhm.
of First Platoon ACO guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Shadow
It's
Warriors.
all
Yeah.
all in the back. Like there's like Lieutenant Molino, and like I think there's even a photo with Skullthorpe.
That's
but I'm
the
pretty
poster
sure you
boy.
might even be in the book, man. Cause,
Really?
Yeah, there's a book, Shadow Waves, and it's just all these guys, almost all the photos in it of like modern day. There's a modern days Ranger section. It's all photos from.
Well, I know there's that book, Weapons of the Modern Army Ranger or something like that, and it was all first batch.
It's always
I mean, it was all first platoon guys in it.
ACO, right?
ACO, yeah, it was
Yeah.
like Ford and McTier and all these guys.
It might be like the same photos they used for that book that they used for the other one. It might be
Maybe it
similar ones, but I know in
was.
Shadow Warriors they have.
I think, I don't know what your guys' experience was. I was lucky enough to do some aerial platform support missions in Afghanistan, Little Birds and Hueys. That was a lot of fun riding on a Huey, Marine Huey. I'm on one side and the company XO is on the other side, and he's puking into an MRE bag the entire time. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We always knew the mission was to go when you saw officers with their flights freaking kill.
Hang
Whatever
out.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
what was
I
it
have-
called?
The flight connection.
In flight. No, the
Where they can listen into the pilot.
no,
like
the
that.
thing so they can
Dramamine.
get flight sickness or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, the patch.
The
Yeah,
patch,
yeah.
yeah.
When you saw that on a freaking officer,
Yeah.
like, all right, we're going tonight. And it was only officers that one. I don't know.
I had a pretty good one deployment when I was in Baghdad. They ended up. We had our section. We had the opportunity earlier. We kind of hooked up with Sergeant Major Keg Kai. Kind of made really good relations with him, and we ended up getting the opportunity for a group of our section to go up to their compound and train with them for like 10 days. And that made really good relations with those guys. And the next deployment that I was on, one of the guys that actually was kind of took off during that whole 10 days that helped train us and stuff while we were there, he was the sniper, basically. He was like the sniper team leader for that group there. And it was really great because, we were going out pretty much every night, but there were some nights that, they'd be like, hey, we're not going to go out on this. We're going to let it sit for another night because, we think it might materialize a little better, get a little more intel. And nights like that where they're like, it was late enough in the night, but they were going out, he would call me up, and I would take my guy, and we'd go with him. Our sniper team would go with his sniper team.
Yeah.
And I probably went on, I don't know, 10 or 15 missions with him that deployment. And that was a really cool experience to just be the only guys with him, on the objective with those guys, with the rest of the guys. We're not pulling security for him or doing anything. We're doing a mission with them. And there was a lot of Little Bird missions, a lot of really cool. I mean, I remember one night and this was probably the most flapping out in the wind I'd ever been. This was in Iraq, and I remember they said, okay, we're going to drop you guys off, and you're going to go basically secure this objective, overwatch this objective, and then the rest of the guys are going to come in and hit it hard while you guys make sure that basically secure nobody gets off the objective. So big compound, had a big wall around it and stuff. And I remember it was me, my sniper, their two their snipers, a regular operator with a 46 and a JTAC, and that was it. That was all. One, and the Black Hawk landed and dropped us off 5 clicks from the objective, and we walked through these little villages. But it was small village, kind of outskirts areas, but walking through kind of between houses and stuff, just us, out by ourselves. And don't worry, we got F-18s, AC-130, and DAPs all on standby, and 2 ISR platforms watching you guys. So I mean, this 6 of us had this
entire air asset.
the entire the 82nd Airborne's entire asset division was watching us and I'm people don't understand the assets that get thrown our way. They beg for that kind of stuff, and we're just yeah, we have that. There's 6 of us out there. But I mean, that was there was cool stuff like that in the experience with the Little Birds. And I was yeah, Little Birds, until there was 2 or 3 missions in a row where I was going with them, and we had to fly 40. It was during the wintertime too, so it wasn't very warm out. And there was 3 missions, it was 2 or 3 missions in a row, and they were 45-minute flights each. And being on a Little Bird for 45 minutes, even if it's warm out,
Hurts, man.
Your ass cheek, one ass cheek by the end, I mean, I'd be on the back of the pod, and by the end, I was pushed so far, and my lanyard was tight, completely tight, and one ass cheek's on the pod, the other ass cheek is completely hanging off the back side of the pod, and your neck hurts so bad because the wind is pushing against your head, so you're just like this.
St. Peter's gonna say,
St. Peter's gonna say,
how'd you earn your living?
how'd you earn your living?
How'd you earn your pay?
How'd you earn your pay?
I will reply with a whole lot of anger.
I will reply with a whole